Hello, everyone. Phil Lee returning with another episode of Civil War Chat. Click on the subscribe button below here to subscribe to future episodes, and also the notification bell in the far upper right to be notified when future episodes are released. If you do that, well then St. Patrick's Day is tomorrow, and you're going to have a wonderful time on St. Patrick's Day. All you got to do is click that bell, and it guarantees you a wonderful celebration. Okay, today's topic is End the Madness, and what it's about is the Arlington National Cemetery has a Confederate monument, sometimes referred to as a reconciliation monument. It was put up in, I think it was actually dedicated in about 1914 to reconciling the North and the South. The Army, through a naming commission, has decided that it needs to be taken out of the cemetery. There were public hearings yesterday that you could attend via Zoom and to make public comments about your opinions on, what should happen to the statue or the memorial once it's taken out of the cemetery. A lot of the people that made these public comments were really, I think, like me, hopeful that this whole thing can be turned around. And maybe it can be, but of course the advisory committee on Arlington National Cemetery, whom we spoke to, said no, that's not going to happen. You can offer your comments about what you think should be done with the memorial once we take it down, but it's going to be taken down. Nonetheless, about 30 people spoke. I'd say maybe 35 people spoke, and I was really quite impressed with the remarks. It was far superior to what I'd expected. I would say my comments, even though I prepared them in advance, were probably in the lower half of the quality. So what I'm going to do is to read to you a public comment by a guy named Rick Sapp. I've read comments by him before on matters relating to the Civil War and Confederate memory. These are the public comments he made yesterday. Rick Sapp made these to the Advisory Committee on Arlington National Cemetery. Just to clarify, the Advisory Committee is taking input from the public to decide, what should we do with this monument once we take it out of the cemetery. Okay, so here we go. These are Rick Sapp's comments on March 15th, 2023 to the Advisory Committee of the Arlington National Cemetery. Thank you for the opportunity to make a statement today. My father is buried at Arlington National Cemetery. He was a career naval officer who flew combat missions in Vietnam. While I can't be certain he would agree with all I'm about to say, I believe he would. And I say this in his honor. There are 3 reasons you must stop the destruction of the Confederate Memorial in Arlington National Cemetery. The first is that it is the right thing to do. It is right to let those who decided to erect the monument a century ago continue to be heard. It is the height of arrogance to think that we know better than the Union veterans who attended that unveiling. Who are we to say 3 different presidents of the United States were wrong? One of them was a Union veteran. That would be McKinley. It is right to let their efforts and reconciliation be a beacon for today and the future. The second reason to save the Ezekiel monument, now the monument was designed by Moses Ezekiel, who was a VMI graduate. Okay, here's what he says. The second reason to save the Ezekiel monument is to the second reason to save the Ezekiel monument to reconciliation is that calls for its destruction are political, even in the military. General Mark Milley is on record calling Southerners who fought for the Confederacy traitors. He did this while testifying in Congress. The vice chair of the naming commission, Ty Sedgley, called Confederates traitors in his celebratory treat announcing the completion of the naming commission's report. And I'm going to add, Ty Sedgley repeatedly calls Confederates traitors in his book, Robert E. Lee and Me. Okay, continuing now with Rick Sapp. You may agree Confederate leaders were traitors, but that view is as political now as it was when the Republicans in Congress said so in the 1860s. Consider this: no Confederate was ever tried for treason. Call them treasoners, if you call them traitors if you want, but keep in mind, no Confederate was ever tried for treason. The third reason is that you have an opportunity to turn the tide, to say enough is enough. Confederates are low-hanging fruit. Think for a minute. We are contemplating destroying a memorial in a cemetery. General Eisenhower led a segregated military. Now there is a fort named after him. There's already talk that the USS Stennis, Navy ship, should be renamed because Stennis was a senator from Mississippi who was a segregationist. Please end this madness. I mean, are we going to rename any base that might be named for, that is named for Eisenhower, or anything named for Eisenhower, simply because he was in charge of the army during World War II in Europe when it was a segregated army? Okay, so continuing with Sapp. Please end the madness. It is the right thing to do. The calls for destruction are political. Your courage, meaning the subcommittee, is required to turn this tide. Thank you. Okay, I think he said it really quite succinctly there, so I don't really have anything to add except thank you for watching, and I look forward to seeing you next time.